Hey, I'm Tom.
And I'm Tanner.
Welcome to episode 180 of Bird Squawk.
Yeah, well, there it is. That's a wrap, man. That's a wrap on the season. I don't know, man. There's a lot to digest going into this offseason. There's a lot of question marks, not just now, but obviously in a couple weeks still, of what this team's going to do. Obviously, we didn't talk to you guys last week, but, I mean, it was one of those things, man. I mean, you had to feel good but not feel good at the same time. I don't know. It was one of those weird things. Obviously, we got to sit back during the weekend because, of course, they played on Monday. But you kind of watched the other games and kind of convinced yourself maybe things were falling as they needed to. They just needed to show up for the first time all year and actually do something. And
yeah, totally. I mean, I feel like that Cowboys game rejuvenated all of us.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
I mean, we talked about it, but I'm still looking for the drug that I was on that thought this team would show up and do something other than what they've been doing for the last 6 weeks.
I know. I mean, that's the main thing. I mean, Monday comes around, you're feeling like, all right, man, you win this game, you avoid going to San Francisco, at least for now. I mean, Detroit's not going to be anything easy, but that's the easier path. And I mean, you're a quarter in. Not even a quarter in. You're half a quarter in, and you go, yeah. Why was I thinking that anything was going to change? I mean, that was the main thing. It was. And I know it's a playoffs. You try to get into it, try to get excited, but you at the end of that game, you go, well, no crap, this happened. This is the team that we've been watching. This is the team that just has been playing, and it's like, why did you try and build, the playoffs come, they're just going to flip on some switch and be a completely different team just because of the playoffs.
Because we heard them talking
that's
like
the thing.
that.
But the thing is, they've been telling that for the last week.
We're gonna fix it. We're gonna get better. We're gonna do this. And then you got Ocho saying they were playing possum, and it's like you're building up to that Monday game thinking, all right, hey, now the season starts. Everybody's 0-0, and they're going to show up and take care of, Tampa. And, wow. After a couple days of digesting that, it's like, they just pulled the wool over our eyes, man. I mean, obviously we saw it. And we looked the other way for all those weeks.
Absolutely.
Because there's nobody out there saw that collapse coming. I don't care. We were 10-1. We were lucky. But nobody saw 6 weeks of utter whatever happened there.
Yeah, I mean, that's my thing that I'm always, that's the thing I think a lot of people aren't kind of, looking at, and that's something I wish people would digest a little bit more. And it's I get it, and we talked about it, and you're at 10-1, and at the end of the day, you were there. But we talked about it before. I mean, they were lucky to be 10-1. You know what I mean? They were lucky to even probably have 10 wins, in general, in the whole season. But, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think really, and I don't think it's completely on that, because obviously the offense hasn't been good this year. But I think it was Howie's decision to go to the defensive coordinator thing. I mean, the defense was bad prior, but they got worse. They were serviceable.
To me, that felt like the beginning of the end.
For no reason. There was no reason for that move.
We were 10-1 at that time, I believe.
I don't remember exactly
and
what it
that
meant.
came out of nowhere on a flight to Seattle. That breaks.
Well, they were 10-3 at that point. That was after the 2 losses to the Niners and the Cowboys.
That breaks that we're going to demote Desai and elevate Patricia. And it's like, what? What is going on?
And it was the dumb stuff that they fed you that it was it's going to be the same defense and all that. It wasn't. Everyone's complaining that
we find out in the end that they had to learn a whole brand new midway through the season.
It was no crap that ain't gonna.
Who thought that was gonna work?
No crap that ain't gonna work.
I mean, we're not even in the room with them, but we know that ain't gonna work.
Yeah, I mean, you were struggling already, and then you threw that in there, and like I said, I mean, the defense had been bad all year, but they were a reason you were in a lot of games, and they were honestly, they were the reason you were in the game for as long as you were on Monday. Even though they couldn't tackle anyone to save their lives, they at least came out with some stops in the second half and kept it at a striking distance.
And the one thing, the older I get, it's harder to buy back into these guys. But the older I get, I see, and this is what upsets me with the Eagles, is like when it's going bad, you don't know who's doing what.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They don't come out and say anything. Is Howie Howie had to be the one who orchestrated the whole Patricia thing.
Absolutely.
I can't see Nick doing the same thing that Dougie did and say, we are making no changes, and then we get to Seattle,
exactly,
and it happens.
Exactly.
And then, absolutely, he's covering for Jalen and AJ, and it's like, they want to be out in front of everything when they're winning, but when it goes bad, nobody wants to take accountability for the crap show that shows up. Everybody wants to be there when it's good, but when it's going bad, nobody stands up and says, hey, that's on me and I'm going to fix it. And that's the part that, like, just aggravates me the older I get, because it's like, somebody just fess up to what the hell you did and thought and admit it was not a good decision. And admit that the people that we put in place just weren't the guys,
Yeah.
I mean, Morrow, Cunningham, Shaq Leonard. I mean, those guys, they're cooked.
Yeah, I mean, it's the coaching stuff, and I've talked about this before. We've brought this up a couple weeks ago. As much as it's comparing apples to oranges, at the same time, it's very much the end of Doug. Like, all these, like, the coach thing, you're coming off a Super Bowl. Obviously, Doug had a couple more years after this, but the quarterback gets a big contract. He regresses the next year, not majorly, but takes a regress. And all of a sudden, well, now he's not rocking with anyone he's not this leader that everyone expects him, yada yada. Like, that was the thing with me. And I'm not jumping off Hurts' bandwagon or anything, but like, that's what we were sold. I mean, if you guys remember, we were big Wentz guys, but we were sold when Wentz was getting thrown out of town that Hurts was this natural-born leader. These guys played for him. Like, he was the right guy. And whatever, we gave him the benefit of the doubt at that time, and I do believe he is a good leader. But now, we'll start falling off, and that's the big thing, that the office wants to see him change his mentality. And, I mean, at the end of the day, it is a little frustrating. I mean, you watch on Monday, and Baker's on the sideline, talking to his guys. They showed him multiple times talking, hey, we're going to keep going to you, or stay on it, or trying to figure out stuff. And Jalen just goes over and sits down. He just goes and sits down and kind of stays in his own realm. And I know that's nothing new. You know what I mean? Like, that's how it always has been. But with the downwind spiral, it's like, it looks bad.
It's, hey, with that money comes face of the franchise, right?
Absolutely.
And you look at some of these other guys, you look at Mahomes, who doesn't have the weapons that Jalen has, and what he can do out there on the field, right?
Yeah, I mean,
go ahead.
No.
Go ahead.
I mean, I talked to I saw a great quote that Shady said, and I agreed with it 100%. Everyone right now wants to talk about the coaches, and whatever. We can have our discussion. I'm still on Nick. You're out on Nick. We're going to pretty much probably find out tomorrow because he's meeting with Lori tomorrow. But Shady said, hey, man, you look around the league, all I hear about with the Eagles is coaching. Sirianni, Johnson, whatever. Dude, when the Allens, the Mahomes, the Lamar Jacksons of the world aren't playing well, I don't hear, well, we got to get rid of Andy Reid. Oh, or, well, we got to get rid of Sean McDermott. But no one says anything, like, it's nothing on Jalen. It's just, well, the coaching's terrible. Like, it feels so much like the end of Wentz and Doug without it being, because the records were completely different. They're in different spots, but a lot of similarities are coming out again.
And I really feel like Jalen, hey, no knock on Johnson, because who knows what he was doing, right?
Yeah, I mean,
but I believe Jalen needs somebody who is going to coach him hard. You know, like you hear the stories of how Belichick coached Brady, and Belichick ripped him and was merciless with him, and would just, in front of team meetings, would just rip him apart. Jalen needs that. Jalen needs somebody to say, dude, what are you looking at? And what are you doing? And the other thing is, you know, we'll never know because they can't be up front, but is the dude hurt? Because you take away his running ability, he's pedestrian, right? He looks like he can't even run anymore. Can he outrun people? I don't know. But we can't have him just sit in the pocket and wait for people to go 30 yards and look for the ball.
I mean, that's the thing. The route combinations on obvious blitzing downs.
And throughout the season, though, it's been obvious, and we've seen it where he's missed open guys consistently.
Yeah.
And that's a part of, like, I think it got down to, like, okay, maybe I don't like the play that's in here, but now I'm playing hero ball. Well, hero ball ain't going to work, right? Not in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean,
take what they're giving you. And if we don't have a plan B for the blitz, then that's on the coach. But you are the guy out there, right?
Well,
you are the one seeing it. Why aren't you checking out of something?
Like, that's what I mean. I mean, the play calling isn't great. But one thing, at least what you can take at face value, because Sirianni said this, is that Jalen has full control once he gets to the line. And how much, here we go again. Remember how that was a big debate when Wentz had all that control and the offense wasn't doing anything. Like, I'm not trying to compare, but it's comparing so much.
I still like both of those guys, man, and I'm not out on Hurts, but it's like,
no.
You sold me a bill of goods that this dude was going to be a leader, and he was a generational player, and this year he got beat by Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, that's the thing.
And how many times have the Bucks beat us in the damn playoffs, you know?
Yeah.
Closed the vet. 2 years ago they beat us. Monday they beat us. I'm sick of the Bucks, and we got to watch Baker, who's like the next level Johnny Manziel, you know, running all over the field, acting, you know, and our guys sitting on the bench like sulking.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I mean, it's just one of those things. And I said this right when this stretch happened. This was a thing that everyone wants to praise when the Birds are doing well. Oh, look at Jalen. Like, look at him. He's status quo, main thing guy. And as soon as stuff goes south,
cliches.
I knew it was going to get sour with some people. And it's just, I don't know. The coaching thing is interesting. You can have your opinions. I know probably 85% of the fan base wants him gone. I think he deserves one more shot with new coordinators. And heck, let's prove everyone right. Just bring in Frank Reich. He's the Christ of offensive coordinators. He's tight with Saucy. Just bring him in. The offense will look right like it because Frank Reich, you know.
I say this. If we keep Saucy, I do not want to be running his offense next year. His offense goes out the door.
The thing
he is not involved in play calling. We're bringing in somebody who's innovative, who's going to do something.
But here we go again. We were running his offense last year. What's different? The play caller. Like, the play calling isn't the easiest thing in the league. I mean, I don't know how many more similarities I'm going to bring up in this video. Super Bowl, Frank Reich leaves, offense goes stale the next year. Super Bowl, Steichen leaves, offense goes freaking bland the next year. Like, I don't know how many similarities between that team and this team there is. But it's like...
That's because I really think they kept Johnson and elevated him, but then put a freaking arm up his back. You know, he was running this system with one arm tied behind his back. I think they never let him do what he wanted to do. And that's my story, I think. But who knows?
Yeah.
I think Saucy couldn't call plays 2 years ago, right? So why would we think he should be involved on game day calling plays now. He can't do it.
Well, is he?
It felt like at points he was calling plays.
I would say I would say last year and this year, I don't think he's calling plays.
This year did not feel like, if this was his offense, this was a college. This was Mount Union's offense.
But the thing I don't get is they were doing, like, the offense didn't change from last year to this year. They just didn't have success. It's not like anything really changed.
Teams adapt. Teams
yes,
change.
Absolutely.
They took away that quarterback draw. They took away, and Jalen couldn't run, like he used to. So teams catch up. We didn't change.
So I look at it too, with the Sauce.
I want Saucy gone.
When I look
done.
at Sirianni,
Life's too short, man. I can't waste these years.
Look at Laurie's track record, and the track record says he's going to be back. I mean, he lets these guys, and I get everyone saying, well, he's going to have the same meeting like he did with Doug, right when Doug got fired, when none of us expected it. Doug wanted out, man. I still, to this day, believe it just got to the point that Doug was like, I'm done. The issue...
That's because Doug... I'm sure Doug walked into those meetings feeling like, I won you a Super Bowl, man. I want my coaches. I want my guys. And they said...
Well, that's the thing,
They
too.
said, wait a minute, dude.
No, here we go.
You're the front man here. We pick the coaches.
They get rid of Sirianni. Who do you want? Because they're not going to get... They always pick some random dude.
I want Harbaugh.
No, get out of here. Absolutely.
If I could
absolutely not.
Belichick, not. Harbaugh,
no.
I don't know.
Absolutely not.
I want somebody that is
no.
an outside the box thinker with the offense, would be dynamic, this offense never had an identity.
This year, absolutely not.
We'd run the ball 3 times. And then we never run the ball again.
The issue is they would run the ball, and then they'd be down by 20 points, and they can't run the ball when you're getting freaking blown out.
We got a weapon in Swift who, he's going to be able to catch the ball out of the backfield. How many times he catch the ball out of the backfield
But this
year?
is what I tell you. They didn't do that last year either. That's the thing. I mean, the offense, obviously, flat out just didn't perform. But, it's not like it just was, something wasn't clicking there this year. And who knows what. I mean, the play calling obviously wasn't great at times, but
the whole season it was like Shannon Sharp said, man, it was like we were driving the car and the check engine light came on and we just ignored it.
Yeah.
We just ignored it until the end when every light on the dash finally came on.
Yeah.
And the thing the car died, right? Yeah. I mean, embarrassing. I mean, to me,
No, this is a great question. This is a great question, though, because obviously in my lifetime, probably the most embarrassing collapse in Eagles history. But does this, where does this rank with, losing to, the Panthers or the Bucks in the NFC Championship game with those, high-powered Reed teams?
The biggest killer to me, I mean, and we endured Kotite, who won a whole bunch of games and then crapped the bed. But closing the vet and losing to the Bucks, that one hurt. And, I don't think, it was a couple of years there we had that pain, right? But we always... The thing I felt like the past few years is we've always rebounded and we've been competitive. Seeing them on the field Monday night, quitting.
Yeah, I mean they just weren't good. Yeah.
This was the biggest one to me. This was like a kick in the privates on Monday night, because one thing always as an Eagle, even if we were not good, we competed. And I didn't feel like they competed at all Monday night. And there was a lot of body language and a lot of giving up. And, you can say all those cliches and say all those things, but, talk is cheap, man. And you got to bring it. If you're going to sing it, you got to bring it. And for them to show up that way Monday night after they force-fed me all of that, we're going to fix this, and I love BG, but, BG, I want some money back because, man, you fed me way too much of that, and I believed you.
That's the thing. I mean, like, a lot of times you took a lot of that stuff, and we talked about, like, just kind of like what we thought this team's identity was in a locker room sense and kind of how it didn't pan out that way. But I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting. There's going to be a lot of big decisions to make this offseason with players. And who really knows where it's going to go? I mean, at the end of the day, the focus is obviously defense. I mean, at the end of the day, we talked about this at the end of last year. We talk about it again. I mean, the offense is going to look pretty similar. The offense is going to look the same.
Except I want somebody else running it.
No, but I mean players. I mean, I get Kelsey's.
I mean, we got
not
weapons.
Retired,
we got weapons. I mean, what would Mike McDonald? What would some of those other guys do with the weapons we have? And I don't even want to say, damn, I want Andy Reid back. But what would he do with these weapons that we have? What would he scheme up that this crew just was not scheming anybody up?
Yeah, I mean, the I don't even know. I have a loss of words, man. A loss of words, unfortunately. We kind of just have to see what happens, because I
feel gutted, man. I'm gutted. It's over. They took up 19 weeks of my life and pulled back the curtain to Monday night, which left me.
The thing is, the sad thing is, I'm happy it's over, because it's been miserable. I mean, the last month and a half or so, it hasn't even been fun watching them. Like, you just are like, here we go. And then, like, instantly you're like, what is going on?
Yeah, we did. We went from, like, they're going to pull this out to, like, they're not.
Exactly.
They're not going to win this.
No, exactly.
The last 6 games were like, hey, prior to that, you felt like they were on the field and they were going to, we're going to somehow come through and pull this out.
Yeah.
And the last 6 weeks was like, no, they're not.
No, exactly. It's just...
No, they're not. But we rallied to think that they were going to do it Monday night when we should have known better.
Yeah, that's
man.
the thing. I mean...
We should have known better.
It's going to be extremely interesting. Obviously, tomorrow is going to be a huge indicator of how the offseason goes, because there's a big...
and hopefully that happens. I mean, I heard a report that Lurie's in St. Thomas or something buying a yacht.
Yeah, I saw that he's not even here.
I don't know.
No, but I heard that he's coming back tomorrow.
We're gutted and he's out buying a yacht. I mean, come on.
St. Thomas, a beautiful place, but yeah, I mean, who knows? It's a big difference if you're looking for a head coach and if you're looking for coordinators. I mean, if you fire Saucy tomorrow, hell breaks loose.
And that's just it. Are they going to even tell us that? Are they just going to... Are they even going to tell us about Saucy's job, or are they just going to hire these coordinators and bring them in,
Yeah, I think, whatever. You can have your opinion.
I feel like I think Saucy's coming back.
I think he's back.
I don't want him back.
I want him back.
I don't want him back.
I don't think, to me...
I don't want him back.
I get the collapse, but 3 straight playoffs, NFC champion. I mean, he's like 30-19 or something. I mean... They have been a good team.
Yeah, but when the shit hit the fan, he had no fix. I mean, it's like giving the captain... I saw another...
Is he tackling?
It's like giving the captain of the Titanic another chance.
Is he tackling out there?
Hey, watch out for that other iceberg,
My thing is he tackling out there? Is he fumbling 40 times a game like they have all year? You can only do this to someone in practice so many times until they freaking catch the ball.
Who runs the practices?
Dude, how many videos did I see this year? From Johnny Clark. They're practicing They're practicing fumbles today.
Yeah, but you listen to...
who cares about the hard practice?
Who's the guy that went to Frisco? Hargrave. He said our practices were like a cakewalk.
But the thing is, what does that matter?
And you hear Sidney Brown, who's a rookie, say there was nothing going on at practice.
Where was the issue with it last year? There was no issues with how hard you practiced last year.
You know, I can't compare it to last year.
No, but
because this year was so bad.
The thing is, you can, but you can't.
Yeah.
But it's not like he's running week by week differently than last year. It's just the results.
I'm anti-Saucy.
Whatever.
You're pro-Saucy.
I'm back. He's back, and people are gonna hate it. I'm on board.
I don't even know who I want.
Exactly.
As
Exactly.
Offensive coordinator,
Frank Reich.
defensive coordinator.
Bring in freaking Vrabel, man.
No, I mean, if you bring Reich, bring him as a consultant because I don't want him anymore.
No, but
near
you know they're
offense.
gonna bring some random like they're not gonna go and get a Bieniemy or anything.
I
like
would. That'd be a good choice. Get Bieniemy.
He's not going to come in as an OC. He'd have to be the coach.
He would ride Jalen, man. He would make Jalen better.
He is a
I'm telling you, go get somebody on offense, either from San Francisco's tree, bring some assistant.
Yeah, that worked. Yeah, that worked real good with Mike McDaniel down in freaking
I don't care.
Miami. That offense has crumbled too.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Exactly. Anyway, we've wasted your time.
One
more
good
than
thing.
enough.
One good thing though we can talk about Monday is the Slim Reaper did show up.
Yeah, I'm not surprised
Right.
by that.
Slim Reaper.
Of course, he showed up.
Thank you.
He had like
You made that game somewhat enjoyable.
Exactly.
right?
He showed up. Knew he was going to show up. Anyway, who knows? We'll be
We're
back
devastated.
I'm
devastated.
If something bombshelly happens, we'll be back.
I'm signing out for.
But like I said, if Saucy's back, don't expect to hear from us. If Saucy gets fired,
yeah,
we'll hop on, discuss, follow along with
he's
that.
back. I'm putting a black armband on.
Anyway, thank you guys for another great season. I know we were a little lackluster at times this year, but it was another great season, another exciting season. But hopefully we're back. We'll be back next year again once things start ramping up. But
Don't ask for my season ticket deposit yet, Eagles, because I'm not ready yet.
Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Thank you as always. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at birds_squawk. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Fly Eagles fly.
Go Birds.